Welcome in to the first edition of the Reel Spiel NBA Show, presented by the Reel Spiel podcast, of course. Trevor Kelsey, your co-host, Roman Kelly, myself, your host. We've got a new show coming to the airwaves. The Reel Spiel podcast is presenting now the Reel Spiel NBA Show. And Trevor, we got to get straight to it because obviously the first game's about to end. It's a little bit of a situation where we're trying to get playoff predictions out immediately before too many games have started. I don't want to do it after the second game's even started, but with the first game, I'll take that sacrifice. It's okay. The team that I selected in the first round of this game matchup that started at 1 p.m. is getting blown out right now, but we're going to get into that. Trevor, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me on this. I do want to actually preface one thing. Actually, Trevor, tell me how you're doing first.
I'm doing good. I mean, if that preference is Trevor's a Pacer fan, so take everything he says with a grain of salt. I'm doing fine. Apparently, Pacers and I'm not the only one smoking right now. The Pacers are too. So
Trevor is going to be our historian on the NBA Reel Spiel show. He's going to be our 05, 08 kind of a personality on this show.
But buddy, my brain goes back to the 70s, man. I mean,
I'm just saying everything, but you seem to know everything before 2005. So
2010 is more right when Trevor hit his 30s and started losing a little bit track of some of the stuff and started saying "you kids" more often. Yeah.
We do know that Trevor is going to be the first co-host on the show. I've reached out to a couple guys. I'm trying to assemble a team. I've reached out to some people, some local guys who are ball knowers, as you would call them, guys who are in tune with the NBA more than just the team they're fans of. They watch all other teams and just have an understanding of the landscape of the NBA right now. My boy Tristan Beckman.
I'll try not to take that as an insult to say I don't watch every other.
No,
team.
You do, Trevor, obviously, but we want to get a young guy who stays up to date with all the current stuff outside of the team that they're a fan of as well. We want, you know everything Pacers right now, but outside of the Pacers, we need other personalities. We don't want to have the Reel Spiel podcast just being me and you and our takes on everything. We're going to have multiple shows.
Just because I look like white Charles Barkley doesn't mean that I don't like. I can play the game of what team is he on now a lot better than Sir Charles can, and God love you, Chuck. I do.
That's true. That's very, very true.
I might not do as well about it as I might not do great at the game, but I guarantee I can silly snail one or two more than he can.
I think you can as well. I think you can. You understand the game a little bit better than him as well because he says
what you say about Sir Charles. That was my man. That was my favorite player.
He says some crazy stuff. I get he tries to get clicks and stuff, but sometimes I really do understand.
Clicks for what?
Question what game he's watching. I mean, I don't know.
That's why you gotta love Charles.
He doesn't care about that stuff, so he really believes it. He's really coming from the heart.
Yeah,
and some of the stuff he says is outlandish. That's
fine, but it's real. Like I see that stuff on ESPN, and I see Perkins, and I see them doing their stuff. And you can
that's actually fake. That's actually
hell. They're forcing it and they're trying to be this or trying to do that. Charles doesn't. I mean, the fact that he doesn't even care about getting clicks, as you kids like to say, he's not on Twitter. He's not on social media. He's not online anyway. He doesn't give two shits about getting those things. where everyone else does.
But he doesn't
That's why
watch
you
the
feel
games
too.
either. I don't want to listen to him because he
Well,
doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't
I don't know
understand.
about that.
He doesn't know what he's watching out there anymore. He has a unrealistic expectation of certain players and teams. He clearly just doesn't watch every team that's playing. He only watches the games of the TNT when he has to broadcast on TNT, and that's what I think. And I think that shows with a lot of his takes. But nevertheless,
Still a lot
Trevor,
of games to watch though.
you are going to be our, guy who knows a lot about the history of the game, who knows a lot about pre-draft stuff, a lot of players who have gotten drafted. You can name the lottery on pretty much every draft after a certain point. But I do want to get a couple other guys on the channel as well, just because there's a lot of local guys who are great talkers and great debaters and know NBA basketball. So, Cam Snyder's one of those guys that we're going to try to get on the show. Tristan Beckman's one of those guys that we're going to try to get on the show. Buddy of mine named Kobe, we're going to try to get on the show. Germ, who's been on the soccer side of the Reel Spiel podcast, he's a Lakers fan. We might get him in as a special guest for some Lakers stuff going forward. He watches every single Lakers game and knows a lot about them. But yeah, Trevor, NBA playoffs are right now. We've got to get right into it because obviously, like you've said, your Pacers are playing right now. They're smoking the Buck.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get started now because the playoffs end in 3 months.
Well,
so
yeah,
we got to get it started because we don't start now. I mean, next thing you know, it'll be,
we're gonna try to go. We're gonna try to go. I think bi-weekly if we can.
I would prefer to go weekly. And listen, also on the second, what you were just talking about, there's definitely one thing you will not get a debate on me in an NBA discussion is that people know more than I do. I am fully aware of that, 100%. As I've said before, if I don't have my thumb up there, I'm usually just talking out my ass. So I mean, but hey, I make it sound good, don't I?
You do. You sound good. No, you know what you're talking about. Don't do that. Don't discredit yourself at all, Trevor. You know.
I tell you now, who doesn't know what they're talking about is Doc Rivers, and you can look at this game right here with what we'll start.
You can listen if you listen to his timeouts. You can hear that.
I have said this before. I think you might have been. I don't know what you might not have been born yet. I've been bad on Doc Rivers since day one. The man underachieved drastically with Boston in the Big Three. Has never done. No one in the NBA history of coaching, and that's saying a lot because Lakers pooped the bed a lot in the 80s there too when they shouldn't have. Twice, but still that's 2 times more than they ever should have in the 80s in the Western Conference back then and how loaded they were. But no one has done less with more than Doc Rivers ever has. I mean,
I agree with you. I'm 100%. I think he's – I mean, the 3-1 leads he's choked go to show it. He's been up on teams that have been – he's better than, and he's let him come back. I mean,
the thing about
the talent he's had, the amount of players, when you're going to be able to say when he's all said and done, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Chris Paul, all the different players that he's had, Giannis Antetokounmpo until he maybe does win one with him. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's the kind of situation where I bet they would move on from Doc if they don't get to at least the second round this year. So
and the thing with the NBA is the sad part is that coaching is like 20% of the game. I mean, it's really not. It's all, but you have to have talent. If you don't have talent, coaching is almost moot. I mean, once in the history,
the coaching really comes to play in like after that first round of the playoffs. I really think it's that second round. The second round of the playoffs, the true coaching comes to play here because the talent's more even.
As long as you're not taking as a coach, as long as you're just not taking away from your team, and that's what Rivers does, then you're doing fine. I mean, all you got to do is just be Mike Woodson to a degree and just get the most.
I don't know
now.
I mean, Doc really. They say Doc has a good way of getting good relationships with players. He establishes really understanding of players and gets them all on the same page. But that doesn't seem to be a skill that's helped him out at all at this point. And he does. He went to the 76ers, the offense got better. He went to the Bucks, the offense got better. But the defense, he doesn't really change defense in the modern NBA anymore, and that's not gonna sustain. You've got to be able to adjust your defense, use multiple defenses, and you've got to be able to build your run. I mean, the roster issues with them right now and injury issues right now are really prevalent. But
you can't blame Doc because right now, I mean, even as a 5-4 seed, I mean, again, as I've said it again, I'll say it 100 times as you repeat it. You've got to have talent. I mean, talent.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries.
It ends all be all. It comes down to talent in the NBA, particularly in the playoffs more than anything.
Yeah,
it all comes down to individual talent.
And at the end of the day, Damian Lillard, I mean, not playing is obviously huge. He will be back, they're saying, but Damian Lillard and Giannis haven't proven to be offensively like they haven't consistently shown to be that powerhouse. But Trev, we've got to get into it. We don't have enough time. We've got to go series by series. Let's start at the top of the Eastern Conference here at the right.
And starting with this series right here, I mean, again, the Pacers.
Let's start with the first seed.
Oh, you want to start with the 1-8? It's going to be a sweep.
You think the Cavs are going to sweep the Hawks?
There's no doubt about it. The Hawks.
This isn't right. The Heat. This isn't right. Oh my god.
First of all, the Hawks beat the Heat exactly.
How is this? How do I have a incorrect?
And
this
I can
is an
tell
incorrect.
you right now, after watching that game, Trey Young is not going to win anything. That dude has no heart whatsoever. How he went to the Eastern Conference Finals that 1 year still baffles me. That just tells you where the NBA and the East is at the time in terms of talent level. But the Heat are a team that's, I mean, listen, you've got talent. Hero is an current NBA Today player. Bam can be a solid, decent player, but you don't have a star. And in the NBA playoffs, if you don't have star power, a superstar, let me phrase that. You have Bam and Tyler can be stars. They can be all stars, but you've got to have a superstar. And that's the Cavs have that in Donovan Mitchell. I mean, you only have one in Donovan Mitchell, and then you have some good all-star players around him, but you have that one. And that one right there is the Hawks aren't going to beat it. I mean, in most cases, if you have the one superstar, you're going to win that first-round series. The one exception is probably going to be this Milwaukee series, with Giannis being the best player on the court. But the fact that everything after him is just fails comparison to the Pacers offer. It's not going to happen. The Hawks, I mean, the Heat are a solid team. They can put up some make games them close. This is a sweep, maybe a gentleman's sweep at best.
I do think it's a gentleman's sweep. I think the Heat will get one game. I think this is a little run that they're on, the way that they can defend when they're defending well with Davion Mitchell. I think Davion Mitchell is a good second guard off guard to what Tyler Hero does, because Tyler Hero needs the ball in his hands to be productive on the offensive end, and we know what he is as a defender. It's not much. Davion Mitchell does have the ability to come in there and put a body on Donovan Mitchell. And I think that in one of those games down in Miami, I think that they're maybe going to be able to just get enough shooting out of all those guys and maybe pull it off just one time. I think that is going to be a 5-game series in that.
And I don't know if it'll be blowouts, but I mean, I don't see them being. I mean, I think Miami has like a close loss to them, maybe in game 1 or 2.
I think they'll be close first halves, is what it'll be. I don't think Miami has the depth, so Cleveland's depth is going to be able to prevail in those third quarter runs and stuff, and those fourth quarter runs when the legs do start to you start to feel those legs for Miami. I don't think they'll have it. And the way like they're going to have to defend is going to be I don't think they can defend at the level that they'll need to be able to defend for long enough.
I mean, on paper, Miami should be better than 8 seed. I mean, you'd think so. You would think they'd be probably almost to be switched with Detroit when you look at it on paper a little bit, but it's a team that just. I mean, for what it's worth, this is not – it's a good team, but not a great team. And the Cavs are, at least especially this season, a great team. And I just don't see much of a series there at all.
So I'm right there. I mean, yeah. We have Cleveland advancing into the second round. And we'll move right down. Bucks, Pacers. Obviously, what's the score right now, Trev?
Well, they're showing – they just came back from a timeout, or as I like to call it, a Giannis free throw attempt.
This is the one first game that's already started. Obviously, in the NBA playoffs.
They're coming back. Hold on, I'll just give you 2 seconds on a live update. It is
86-107
point lead. Yeah. So
this game's
relative. I mean,
left.
The way this game's going, Milwaukee is showing a little bit of heart. Indianapolis is when Indy's hitting threes and Toppin just hit one. They're a very tough team to beat, and that's what they live and die by, the three.
They're 12 for 31 from 3 right now. The Bucks are 5 from 28.
And here's the thing also. Miles Turner's playing good Miles Turner. Well, Miles Turner plays good offensively, and it won't be consistently ever. And I know that from 10 years of watching the man play. But when he does play consistently offensively, and he has today, Indianapolis can beat anybody. I mean, he plays a consistent series, and they can run with Cleveland and Boston. I just don't see it coming. Yeah. Giannis is the best player on the court. And this is the one exception to the few rules that I'll say when I say that whoever has the best talent is going to win. They have the best player. But beyond Giannis, I mean, even if Lillard comes back, listen, Lillard's 2 years past his prime. He's a nice player, but he's a role player now. And he's not at the level that Siakam is playing, or even at the level that Turner can right now play at. And then
you've got the Pacers in how many games?
6 again, like last year.
All right. I can see that. I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to believe that Damian Lillard is going to be able to be at least the serviceable playoff Damian Lillard he's been near his past prime when he has been healthy. I think if he can give them 26 a night efficiently, and it isn't a complete liability out there, I think defensively trying to guard, whoever that's going to be between Halliburton or Nembhard, I'm sorry. Then I think he can do it. I think that the Bucks will be able to get this done. I think I've got the Bucks here, and I can't go 6. I can't go 6. I'll go 6. I've got the Bucks in 6.
I mean, am I going to get canceled if Nimhart plays poorly and I start calling him Nimtard?
No. Yeah. Actually, you might. Yeah, maybe avoid that.
Thankfully, he has never played to that level. Miles Turner, thankfully, his name doesn't come like with a match to that because I would have used it for him on multiple occasions. But Nimhard's always been, for a second round pick, for what he brings to the table as a nice little role player. I'm not gonna.
I don't know if he's gonna be. If Damian Lillard's hot, if it's Dame time, I think Dame time's coming in this series.
Well,
I don't think Giannis is gonna lose in the first round.
You might need Pat Connaughton time because the Bucks have now cut this game to 12 with 5 minutes left. The Bucks are going to show their last little life here. It's going to be interesting. The Pacers can answer.
Wow, that was a very that 2 minutes. That 2 minutes right there. Things shifted in that 2 minutes right there.
I mean, when listen again, it's the Pacers. As I've said about the Pacers, they love to live and die by the three. They love
AJ Green's hitting threes now.
And if they're going to miss a few in a row, they're not.
AJ Green's 5 from 9 for 3. Yeah, so Kevin Porter Jr. is giving him 12 points. Gary Trent Jr. is giving him 14 points. Giannis obviously 36 and 12. He's going crazy, but we do have to be quick, Trev. We don't have enough time because I do want to get this full video complete and fully uploaded before the 3:30 game starts. Moving down, Trev, the 3-6 series. The New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons.
I mean, the Knicks and 6 as well in this one. I like Detroit showing some life. I mean, Cade's obviously stepped up a little bit, but he's still young. This is too young a team. This Knicks team, as long as it's Karl Anthony Towns plays, again, he's kind of Towns. He's Miles Turner again, just the same thing. Everything I say about Miles Turner, I say about Cat. Because it's like
Cat's a much better shooter than Miles.
Yeah, but my point is,
Miles Turner is a much better rim protector. I mean, Cat's such a punk on the defensive end sometimes.
But it's not about the talent; it's about the head. And when it comes to those two, that's what it is. When those two want to play, they can be dominant. It's just a matter of whether they're going to show up or not, or just kind of be the Eeyore. And I'm being like, ho hum, what am I going to do? That's been the knock on Cat as well. So I mean, but when he wants to be dominant, and they can be, and I think he can be in Detroit. I mean, who are you going to put on in Detroit? I mean, who they start Durant? I think still the kid out of Memphis. I mean,
I just here's the thing. Here's my thing. The New York front court with Anunoby. I mean, if they play Towns at the 5, and you start Anunoby at the 4, which is what they're going to do, that small ball and still kind of size and defensive versatility that you're gonna, if you can punish New York with size, you can beat them. And I don't know if the Detroit front court's really good enough with Jalen Duren. I just, they played recently. The Detroit did get a win. Karl Anthony Towns had 25 points. Cade just went off 36 points. Precious Achiuwa played in the front court in that game. They didn't have OG. OG was out, so it's hard to really tell. I'm gonna go right there with you. I think that the front court for the Pistons just isn't going to be enough. I don't trust Tobias Harris a lick. And I'm going to say New York. I'm going to say New York in 6, but I do like the Pistons' resurgence. The biggest turnaround in the NBA last year in terms of wins last year to wins this year. So I love it, and I like that they did I don't like that they did the ticket rule thing, but I think that they're going to have good home courts in there, and I understand why they did the ticket.
The Detroit team reminds me a little bit of just. Cade Cunningham has done a great job carrying his team, and it is his team. He's going to go as far as he can stay hot as he can. Everybody else around him is role players in general. And that being said, it kind of reminds me of some of those Pacer teams with Oladipo that they had, or even Danny Granger in those other days where they were like the 6, 7 seeds as well. You had that one guy that could put up points because he was, the best player and he was going to take all the shots. But your team in general is not that great, and they're nowhere near as good as the Knicks. I think they'll win a game, maybe even 2. I give you that. I think Cade can get off in the right situation. Yeah. But this shouldn't be. The Knicks should roll in this series.
I think you're right.
Having trouble.
I just want to see if that Detroit crowd can be a real home crowd.
But it's just
in a playoff home crowd. I think they can steal 1 or 2. So not steal. Obviously, just win 1 or 2. We'll move right down last series in the East here, the Boston Celtics and the Orlando Magic. I think this is a sweep.
It should be. Orlando's so disappointing this year. I didn't follow them as heavily, like you say. I don't, and so I don't know if the injuries were an issue of why they underachieved, because this was such a young team last year. It looked like
a lot of backcourt injuries.
They could take that next step and be more of a 5, 6 this year, not another 7, 8 like they were last year. Because because they've got. I mean, you would think some good young talent, but I'm assuming injuries has been an issue this year for them. That said, I mean, there's nowhere. It doesn't matter. It's a bad matchup for them. It's a bad matchup for anybody.
Yeah, if they get a healthy Porzingis out there, I think they'll especially be cooked. I just don't think that the Magic has enough offense. The defense, they'll hold.
3 teams in the league that has 3 superstars, or at least more than one superstar on the roster.
I think they'll hold Boston to a lot of low-scoring games for Boston's standards. I think these will, like, you'll see there'll be 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the score is going to be, not 115 to 115. You're going to see a lot of those 98-98 with 6 minutes left, and when those games are going to end 115 to 120, which is not that. That's like right. That's kind of average actually, but I think these are going to be a lot of those games where both teams are scoring less than 110. The under in a lot of these games, I'm going to be right there for. So, I say Boston in 4. I really do think they sweep. Yeah, I think you're right there with me, Trev. Moving on to the West, though, we'll start at the top. We know that the OKC Thunder are going to be seeing the Memphis Grizzlies in the 1-8 seed matchup. This should be a sweep. I do like that the Grizzlies defense, and I'm not going to call it a sweep, but it should be. I think this is going to be a 5-game series. I think that when the Memphis Grizzlies are defending well and you're getting that production, like one of the things that they're known for is that they get good production out of everybody that is in the rotation. The roles players understand their roles probably better than most teams that you wouldn't think or don't have a chance, right? They're 7th, 8th, Santi Aldama, what they're getting from him, what they get from Xavier Tillman. There's just a lot of, Desmond Baines have been a great 2-way player for them. If Jaren Jackson Jr. can be a rebounder and a real offensive threat, I think they can maybe steal one. But OKC is just they're the best 2-way team in the league, man. That's the Cavs, but the offense, the offensive firepower, and Ja can't guard Shea if that's what's going to be the matchup. If you put Bane on Shea, then Bane's going to be cooked every night, but you're not going to be able to get the same offensive productivity out of Bane if he has to guard Shea every time he's on the floor. So that'll be interesting to see how they go about guarding Shea, but maybe they can steal one. I'll say OKC in 5.
That's what I love about the West is that unlike the East, where the first round is almost just like ho hum, who cares? Let's get it over with and let's get to the second round where it matters because there's no depth of teams in the East. The West is completely different. Now I think the gap between the betters, the good, the 1s, 2s, and 3s is closer than it ever was with the 6, 7, 8s, and I think in this case it is. I think Memphis is a bad. I mean, I'm the 1-8 and the 2-7 series in the West are very intriguing to me because I know OKC and Houston, and we'll get to Houston in a second, but let's sticking with OKC. I understand how good a team they are, and I've seen this is being your historian here. I've seen it 100 times. I've seen this type of teams that are good in the regular season, 82 games, because they have good depth. But when you get in the playoffs, it's a different season.
They don't have that real star firepower.
Yeah, depth is not despite being a long and tedious playoff, depth doesn't matter because depth matters when you're playing 4 games in a week. These guys are playing still just now 1 game a week, 2 games a week. Your depth doesn't make as big a difference. And I think that's where OKC in this situation can be an issue because Memphis, you mentioned a lot of things said about Memphis. I love Bane is a really good 2-way player and will he take kind of that next step or kind of be just a regular season scorer that is, I can name 1,000 of them that never done anything in the playoffs. Same with Jackson and Ken, I always thought John Morant maybe had that chance of taking that level. I know a lot of people think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is at that level. I'd still question it a little bit. I know the regular season numbers are there, and it makes me.
Zach Edey's a presence down low for the Grizzlies too.
But numbers are there for a lot of people. You saw it last year with OKC losing in the second round to a team that had 2 superstars on their roster, and SGA may be the only one on this OKC team. And if he is, then this is another team that's probably not getting past the second round. Maybe they do because of matchups. That's another day for another discussion. But right now, I think this is a tough series. I think OKC wins in a very hard-fought 6.
Okay.
I think it goes down.
I like that.
Even 7, but I think it goes.
I like that take, Trev. I like that. With us feeling the way we do, knowing us, it'll be 4 games. They'll blow them out 4 times in a row, knowing us. But moving down to the 4-5 matchup in the Western Conference, we've got the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Clippers. Trevor, the way that Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Zubac looked from start of March to the end of April, to this point in April, has been unreal. Zubac is averaging 20, like 30 and 20 or something crazy. Not
Yeah,
obviously 30 and 20, but he's
it's
been
not hard.
absolutely ridiculous the last 2 months. And his averages the last 2 months have been through the roof. Like he's been the top 5 center in the NBA. Not only that, Trev, my main thing about Zubac is he is the perfect body type and defender, though his defensive style is absolutely perfect for going up against Nikola Jokic, right? I don't think he is going to shut Jokic down by any means necessary, but I think he is the kind of guy that it makes Jokic be an inefficient scorer. When Jokic does have to become a scorer, which is that's been the reason they are the 4 seed. Jokic has been a scorer this season. He's been a 3-point shooter. He led the NBA in threes per game for a large stretch of the first half of the season. And I just think that Zubac has the size. He can move his feet. Jokic doesn't put the ball on the floor from the perimeter a lot as a scorer. So, and when he doesn't move from east to west very much at all. I think Zubac is the perfect presence to stay in front of him. And when he does get near the basket and he is being a creator around the basket as a scorer for himself, Jokic, I think Zubac is he has the strength and he has the versatility to be a shot blocker and just make it tough for Jokic. So I think he makes Jokic a passer, and what Jokic is going to be passing to has not been efficient this year and has not been consistent. And they don't have on the perimeter, the Nuggets don't have the defenders for James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. So I think if you do go get that 15 and 15 from Zubac that you've been getting the last 2 months, maybe even like just 12 and 15 from Zubac, and you can cut Jokic's point average down by a couple points, and that field goal percentage down a little bit, I think that this is going to be actually more of a lopsided series than people think. I think that the Clippers are going to get this series, and they're going to win this in 6.
I never thought I'd live today to hear somebody say Zubac was a top 5 center, unless it was
the last 2 months. Go look it up. The last 2 months he has been.
Unless we're talking about like the G League or something. I never thought I'd hear that word said. I mean, they got to hear that.
I didn't either. When the Lakers drafted him, to be saying that right now from the day that the Lakers drafted him is just unreal.
I'm sure his numbers are great, but Zubac is. I have no problem. I'm not worried about Zubac. This series though, if there was ever like a Keeping Up with Kardashians like series, it would be this one.
This is the one that's about to start at 3:30 right now.
Yeah,
we're trying to get this. We had to get this take out before.
We're good. This
tip off started.
TV written all over it because Denver is just who knows what Denver's doing in their front office and the coaching staff. The Clippers. I mean, you've got obviously Harden is a. I've never been a Harden fan. He's a black hole. I'm not going to support anybody. Now, can they win this series? I think if they do, it'd be because Denver loses it before the Clippers win it. Kawhi Leonard has had his day, and he still can be great, but I don't think he really gives a shit anymore at this point, and I don't blame him. He's done his day. He's had his time. This is Denver's series to lose, and if they're going to lose, it's going to be because Jamal Murray and Michael Porter shoot the ball poorly.
In his last 10 games, Zubac is averaging 19 points and 13.7 rebounds.
He will have a triple-double. He will be dominant. They're not going to slow him down, but he can't beat the whole team by himself, and not at this point in this series, in this matchup. He's going to need Murray, and he's going to need Porter or Braun or somebody of the role players to step it up on a consistent basis. Otherwise, they'll lose this series in 6. Denver's the better team, but I'm going to take the Clippers to win this in 6 just because I think Denver is kind of like tapped out this season in terms of mentally a little bit.
Yeah. Jokic actually averages 2 less rebounds than his average against the Clippers, but he shoots 10 better percent. He shoots 42%. 42% from 3 on the season. He shoots 52% from 3 against the Clippers in 3 games this season. 54% from the field, which is lower than his season. Obviously, he shoots 57%. So he's a better 3-point shooter, and that's what I'm saying. So Zubac makes Jokic a jump shooter. Unfortunately, this season Jokic has burned them from 3, right? Because he's been unreal. This season he's having an unorthodox year from 3 this year in terms of the attempts and the percentage. He's shooting 42%. He's shooting more attempts per game than he ever has at all. So it's just kind of crazy. But I do think that if you take him away from the court, I'd like to go see what the matchup was in those, or what the outcome was in those 3 games, or if their teams were fully healthy, because it's just, that's a weird statistical jump, right? The fact that he's averaging, pretty much the same points, but a lot better from 3-point. I just wonder if he's burned them and his 3-point shooting was the reason they ultimately got wins in those 3 games or not. But I haven't looked. That's on me for not doing my research on that. We got to go quick here, Trev. Well, we got that game up. That's really it. We don't have to speed up now because that was the game that we were trying to beat. I do want to move on though, just because we don't, it's the middle of the Saturday. We want to be efficient here. Oh, we didn't give it. I took the Clippers in 6.
Okay. You took Clippers in 6 like me. Okay.
Did you not say yours? Did you not give yours?
I take Clippers in 6. Yeah.
Okay. Moving down, Los Angeles Lakers, Minnesota Timberwolves. I didn't want to talk about the series much in this week because I've been trying to unbiasedly look at it, and my true basketball take is that the Lakers handle business easily here. And I'm not trying to come as a fan. I know a lot of people, they see this, and they hear that, and they think, delusional Lakers fan. You're going up against the best 3-point shooter in the NBA this season. You think you're going to just win in 5 games? I do. I don't trust the Rudy Gobert-led defense at all. Rudy Gobert is unplayable in fourth quarters. Granted, the lineups that you do go to when Rudy Gobert is off the floor, because of how much better I think they are offensively, when you don't have Mike Conley on the floor being the facilitator for Gobert, being his spoon feeder, I just think that when you go to that Nickeil Alexander, Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, and Julius Randle with Anthony Edwards, I think that's their best lineup. I really do. I think that they get the most defensive versatility, and they get the most shooting from that lineup, obviously. So that lineup is kind of scaring me here. I could go into this series for a whole show, Trev, but I do want to try to keep this under 40 minutes. I'm going Lakers here, obviously. I think that we saw last year with Luka going up against the Timberwolves and the drop coverage from Rudy Gobert. I get that they've changed some things this year when they've played the star teams and the Celtics, and they've tried to pre-switch a lot of stuff. When you pre-switch, it kind of limits getting Rudy Gobert in that pick and roll action and forcing that switch every time. I think that they're going to try to prevent that, and they're going to go to more small ball lineups. I like our small ball lineups more than theirs right now, and just I get that Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura have to be the elite shooters that they've been in the last 2 months. Not elite, from the corner 3-point spot, they've both been above their season average from 3 altogether. So they're better from the corner than they are just from all around. And if they can be that, if that can carry on to the playoffs and the defensive rotation still look good, the Timberwolves, their biggest issue is their decision making. When Mike Conley's not on the floor, they don't have a true facilitator. They don't have a true operator. They have a great operator in the pick and roll as a scorer and shooter in Anthony Edwards, as a facilitator across all around the whole court. Granted, he has improved individually. As a whole, as a unit, the decision making, they need a point guard, and Mike Conley can't be out there as a defender. So I just like our matchups. I like the advantages we'll be able to take of Gobert if he's out there, and of Mike Conley if he's out there. Give me the Lakers in. I'm sorry, give me the Lakers in 5. I hate to say that against Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is worth 2 games, I think, no matter anybody. I think if you give Anthony Edwards 3 home games, he's going to win 2 of them, honestly, if he has some defense around him in that small ball lineup. It's tough. Give me the Lakers in 6. Let me play it safe. Give me the Lakers in 6.
You want I got good news and I got bad news for you. The bad news, Gabe Vincent, Reeves, Hiroshima, and all those guys, they suck, dude. They suck.
They don't.
They
suck. This is why we've got to get the third personality in. This is why I can't.
Oh, no.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
Bad news. The good news
You just said Reeves sucks. He averages 20 points per game. It's his career high in across the board.
They suck. The good news is that you have LeBron and Luka, and it doesn't matter if they suck, because that's enough to make up for them sucking. That's
Rui and Denny Finney-Smith.
They are.
They're not anything. They're role players.
They are players who can be rotated
as role players. I think we've got
nameless minions.
We've got the best defensive versatility upon our role players among the contending teams.
That's great. It doesn't matter because
it does.
Luka and you have LeBron. I like Minnesota.
And Austin Reeves as your third option right there is as good as it gets. And then the shooting that we've gotten since the Luka trade, because of what he is as a facilitator and how he creates open shots for people, Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hachimura, they've been great since the Luka trade. And as defenders, they're better than the average role player. Rui Hachimura is a better defender than the average role player. Dorian Finney-Smith is a much better defender than the average role player.
Just proved
they're better. they're better rebounders than the average role player. So to say that they suck because they're not, you can't break their man down off the dribble. Yeah, they can't. They never are going to. They never have been since they were probably in high school. That's okay with me. They understand their roles better than most role players, and that's the number one key for me right there. So
all you did right there was just prove my point to be right. They suck.
To say they suck is
why does it matter that they suck? But it doesn't matter because Luka and LeBron are on your team, and they make everybody who sucks even better because you're going
to say starters on a 3-seed team sucks is just outlandish to me. But whatever. Moving down to the 2-7 series, the Rockets and
to predict my series.
Wait. I thought you had the same prediction. Sorry.
All I did was unfortunately tell you the truth about your supporting cast, and you moved on me.
It was wrong. My bad. But your take on my supporting cast was wrong.
I mean, unfortunately, reality comes to us at the older age. You'll get there eventually and realize it. Again, as I was saying, Minnesota's run last year was cute. It was fine. It was great. They take a step back with Randall from the Anthony trade. I didn't understand that move at all, despite what I say about Anthony in terms of his attitude. And your Edwards can be a guy can take a game over, but listen, this is all about this. The Lakers series in this is much like in Boston in the East. If the Lakers are going to lose in the first 2 rounds, it's going to be because the Lakers cost themselves in the first 2 rounds. There's no reason that they shouldn't win this series in 6, probably maybe in 5, but I think they will make it 6 because LeBron and is smart enough to know that you don't have to go full gas the whole time. This is a long playoff series. He'll take a little bit off the brakes, and then they may lose a game because of it, but he knows better. He knows it's all about a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And so the Lakers win this game in 6, despite the fact that they are a 2-man team.
I don't agree with that. I think they're a 3-man team 100%, and I think
their 2 guys are better than anyone else.
I think the 4th leading scorer and the 5th leading scorer are a very, very much versatile players than most teams' 4th leading scorer and 5th leading scorers. That's just what I think. That's what I think. The Rockets and the Warriors here, call me crazy. I'm probably going to be wrong here. Give me the Warriors in 5. The Rockets half-court offense is the worst out of probably like top 3, top 2 worst out of every playoff team. And Fred VanVleet, I just don't think he's enough as a scorer for you as a starting point guard in the NBA anymore. In crunch time, he's clutch. Yes, he hits big shots still 100%, and he does make tough shots. But through a playoff series in which he's going to be having switches that are going to be Jimmy Butler, obviously, Brandon Podziemich, he's a pest defensively. He's an annoying defender. Obviously, Steph can't really defend these days. Amin Thompson and what I saw from him the last time that they played in the regular season, his defense against Steph did kind of scare me for them. If Amin Thompson's, if they go full court pressure, if Amin Thompson's face guarding Steph at every single moment that they're both on the floor, this series could maybe go way longer than I'm thinking, and it probably will go longer than I'm thinking anyways. Because they're going to try to eliminate Steph out of this series. I think Jimmy Butler is going to negate what that means for them as a team. But I think in the half court, I don't think the Warriors are they don't play sloppy basketball. They don't turn the basketball over in transition, right? Yes, they're not the best rebounding team because they're not the biggest, and that maybe means Kevon Looney might get more minutes because of just him understanding the offense and the screening and the rolling and the finding that extra man and the dunker spot with Gary Payton and Draymond. I don't think there's going to be enough transition in this series in a playoff atmosphere when the rotations shrink a bit and those certain guys are had to play more minutes in the fourth quarters are having longer possessions and third quarters are having longer possessions. I just don't think the Rockets are going to be able to handle that their first time with this unit being a true playoff team against a team that has a bunch of guys who have playoff experience together. And then Jimmy Butler, who has NBA finals experience and leading a team, and he's having to play a different role, a role that's easier for someone who is capable of leading a team himself, right? He's probably the most, he's definitely, it's hard to say, the best Robin in the NBA playoffs discussion has been going on all over the NBA right now. I don't really know who the best Robin is in the NBA. I think it's crazy to not say Jaylen Brown. How, if people really believe Jason Tatum's better than Jaylen Brown, how is the finals MVP from last year not the best sidekick in the NBA when they're 1A and 1B, right? If there's 1A and 1B, I think whoever you're calling 1B is the best Robin in the NBA playoffs. But I think LeBron James, if LeBron James is their second option, then not calling LeBron James the best Robin in the NBA playoffs is kind of crazy as well.
If you're considered a 1B, then you're not Robin. Then because no one ever said Batman and Robin were on the same level.
You're right.
That's
But
the.
I don't think Jaylen Brown and Tatum are on the same level.
If you're debating that the second player is as good as the first, then he's not Robin. Then
I don't think it's. I don't debate it. Jason Tatum will
there's
always
no
be better than
debating
Jaylen
it.
Brown. I think Jason Tatum is better at basketball across the board.
The best Robin of all time was Kobe Bryant.
Yes, 100%. And he's
because he wasn't the leader of those teams, and he was second.
And he statistically, we've never really seen anything like that from the second option. The statistical numbers, we've never really seen that in a that kind of a
Robin discussion we can save for another day. With this year, I'll let you. What was your prediction? You said Golden State though.
Yeah, we got Golden State in 5.
I mentioned it. I previewed it a little bit with my thoughts on this series with the OKC when Houston is right there with them. Young team, very deep, makes it which is why they play the regular season so much better because it's a game about, Golden State knows not to, as long as they're in the playoffs, then the new season begins. And that's what they're doing with their aging players in Curry and Green and Butler. But the difference between the Houston and OKC is that while both are probably as deep as anyone in the West from top to bottom, at least OKC, you have Alexander who can be a superstar. I don't think that's with Green. Green is just, a guy who is a quantity shooter who gets quantity points. And it's not necessarily, when you're shooting 42% from the field as a shooting guard in the NBA.
He takes so many shots off the dribble, so many threes off the dribble. He's still kind of, he's limited. He's removed the mid-range volume compared to the last 2 years, but he still takes mid-ranges. But his ability to get to the basket is what has improved.
If the guy's putting up 20 points a game in the NBA, that's great. And but don't come to me and tell me he is a star player when he's shooting less than 45% from the field and averaging over 20.
Right there with you.
That to me is there with you. Taking abundance of points.
And that doesn't work in the playoffs.
And unfortunately, with Houston, from top to bottom, they have good depth. It's somewhat like the Pacers a little bit, but they don't
have
defensive depth.
That
one guy, and that doesn't mean
they don't have the star. They're the only team in the NBA playoffs that doesn't have a star.
Yeah, I'd say that. I wouldn't. Yeah, they don't have.
Jake Cunningham's a star. Paulo Banchero's a star.
They've got all stars. They don't have a superstar, but they're not the only team in the NBA without a superstar. Half the Eastern Conference.
No. I'm saying in the playoffs. In the NBA playoffs right now.
Yeah, but they don't have a superstar at all. They have a good team of all stars. It's gonna be. This is gonna come down to Golden State.
They don't have anybody who's made the All-Star team. I guess the Magic don't either. Paulo Banchero hasn't made the All-Star team either.
This is gonna come down to Golden State. If they're willing to this being their last hurrah this series, or it's going to be the next series when they lose to LA. It's going to be one of the two, and this is kind of the nail in the final coffin of the Curry. And obviously, it's going to be Butler's last kind of go at it at his age. He's, a role player still kind of at best now, but can be clutch. It's going to be a tough series. If Curry can kind of bring out that Curry magic in this series, I think they win the series in 7. Otherwise, I think Houston wins this probably in 6. But I tell you, and this is the toughest series to me to call in all the first rounds. This one is by far the toughest for me to pick.
I just don't see the Warriors playing a brand of playoff basketball that leads to the Rockets beating them with transition points in 7 games. In a 7-game series, you're not going to win with transition points and only out rebounding.
I'm gonna take Golden State in the upset in this one in 7.
I'll go Warriors in 6 just because that seems fair. But my gut instinct, and I went with gut on all of them except the Lakers because I think I want to go with logic, not my gut with the Lakers. My logic with the Lakers is 6. My gut with the Warriors is 5. My logic with the Warriors is 6.
This is the worst matchup for Houston. In terms of who you're going to get across. They could have. I don't know if it's the worst, but it wasn't a good one. They would have much rather had, I'm sure, Sacramento or Dallas or even Memphis.
Oh yeah, this is their worst. This is the worst first round matchup for them. This is the absolute worst. The 3-point shooting. The Rockets, when they're hot, they've got the shooters, but when they're cold, they're super cold, and they've only got Van Fleet, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jalen Green have shown to be super, super, super streaky. And I just don't think that the Warriors, when Jimmy Butler and that defense, they've been a top 3 defense since the Jimmy Butler trade, and that's just crazy. Yeah, they're not the same rebounding team. They play a lot more small ball with Jimmy, and that makes them not as good of a rebounding team. But they get more shooting when they play the Quentin Post kid. I think Draymond's he's got this weird little. I need to prove I'm still elite before it's too late. I need to show that I was the defensive player of the year. He definitely has that kind of thing going into playoffs. So he's going to go try to be the defensive player of the year in this series. And I do think that in this kind of series against young talent, that will prevail. So give me the Warriors for sure. I've got them in 6. I think 5. Trev, is that it? That's all of it. We got it right here. 45 minutes. That was a little. We broke down a little bit longer. Some were longer than others, but yeah, I think we've got them. So let's just to recap here at the end of the show. Trevor and I agree on the Cavaliers. Trevor went with the Pacers is the only one we're different on. Trevor came with the Pacers.
We disagree on the Rockets here. No, we know. I said Warriors. We both said Warriors. Never mind. I'm sorry. You're right.
You said 7.
Yeah. We agreed on games, but same on the opponent. Yeah, the only one we see different on is the Pacers.
So you've got the Pacers, which is his favorite team. I've got the Bucks, which is, I think, just the talent prevailing, which is a take that Trev normally does agree with, but he thinks in this instance that the second, third, and fourth or the third, fourth, and fifth guys for the Bucks are just not good enough. No, I think they'll get enough from 1 and 2. I think you need to view this series more like you're viewing the Lakers, if I'm being honest. Just not against the Wolves, but just how you're viewing the Lakers offense, basically.
Giannis going to put up like 50 in game 2.
Exactly. And if you're getting 26, 27 out of Dame, if you're getting 26, 27 out of Dame, now you just need some guys. You need 2 or 3 guys to hit 2 or 3 threes. And now you're going to be scoring 110 plus. You're going to be in every single game if you're getting good defense as well. We both agree on the Knicks. Trevor.
50 plus 50 was 20 is 70, and the Pacers are going to score a lot more points than that. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. You're going to need more than 30. You're going to need 30. You need 30 balls from Dame, really. We agree on the Knicks, and we also said the same amount of games. We both say Knicks in 6. We both think that the Boston Celtics should sweep the Magic. I do think that there's a chance it could be a 5-game series, but it should be a sweep. We both said OKC, but Trevor thinks that this OKC series could go to 6 or 7, maybe even a 7th game, but you do have OKC ultimately prevailing. I've got OKC in 5, maybe a 6, but I really just don't see it with the new coaching staff and the changes and it's just certain. Brandon Clark still not being back. I don't even know if he's ever going to be the same player he ever was again, but the defense on the perimeter being good with the front court defense and Chet being a shooter and inside-out presence and then the depth for the Thunder, I do think it's going to be the kind of similar thing where they do get to the second round. So we had them in 5. I've got him in 5. Trevor had him in 6, maybe 7. We both said Clippers in 6. We both agree Lakers in 6, but I think 5 is my gut instinct, but logic says 6. Trevor says Warriors in a close, every game's going to be close, 7-game series. I think that it's going to be Warriors in 5, but I'm going with the 6 if you make me bet it here and give my official pick. So that's the recap. I do want to give another recap at the start of the show, just for people who didn't, maybe came in halfway through and aren't going to go back and watch the start because they did get the recap of the pick, so now they don't even have to. We do have some other personalities who are going to join us on the NBA Reel Spiel Show. The NBA Reel Spiel Show is not going to always be a live show. It will be a podcast. It's the Real NBA Reel Spiel Show on the Reel Spiel podcast. So I do want to integrate more. We have a great feature here with the Restream tool. So I do want to do more recording and maybe editing and, maybe adding of segments and integrating stuff within the podcast for you guys to see visually. I don't want to be clicking and not paying as much attention in the live show kind of an atmosphere. So that's why I don't have that happening right now while we're always going live, other than just maybe an image. But we are going to do some recording. Tristan Beckman, look out for him potentially joining the Reel Spiel Show as a maybe second or third co-host. Maybe Cam Snyder, Quentin Snyder's younger brother, potentially having him on as a third or fourth co-host as well. Look out for that. This has been the Reel Spiel Show. Trevor, wrap us up. Anything you want to say?
I guess I'll answer half the questions we got because I'm not going to tell you who's going to merge.
Oh, we did have a chat.
I'm not kind of sorry, Urban Monk. Despite a loving of your name, I can't give you who's going to win the East and the West because that's kind of teasing for why we're going to come back each time.
Come on now, we can't give any. We're not going past the second round in the first video.
But the other question is the person who asked me games I watch the season. I don't know, 70, 80 maybe.
Trev watches ball.
I'm watching the Pacers play on Fox 1. So
and he's got his illegal streaming platform services as well. So he watches the games he's not able to see on TV too.
So yeah, I watch the Pacers play majority of games. So I'm gonna see. Obviously, because of that, I'm gonna watch the opponent as well, and things. But that's about 6, 7. I don't have to watch again. all the numbers you spilled, no, they're great. They sound awesome, but those are all regular season numbers. This is the playoffs. The regular season doesn't matter where the shit.
Certain guys stop playing, lineups get longer, the minutes get longer, the referees change how games are called. Shea, Giannis, certain guys who thrive at the free throw line, that's going to change a little bit depending on who's officiating the game. So playoffs change. That's one of my favorite things about the NBA is
I didn't tell that to the Pacers today because Giannis at the free throw. I thought there was at least 4 times Giannis didn't even get touched and he went to the free throw line.
It's part of it for Giannis. He does have one of the best whistles in the NBA.
I'm so ready to get past that era of the NBA of just a big guy with his head down running through and going to the line.
I don't know. Cooper Flagg, he's coming to do that. AJ DeBanza, he's coming to do that. I don't know, Trevor. I'm kind of with you too. I want to go back to positions. Really, I love the positionless basketball and the versatility and the 3-point shooting, but I want to see that happen with traditional positions. I want to see the 3-point shooting with 6'2", 6'3" guards. I want to see 6'6", 6'7" power forwards, and I want to see 7-footers out there.
It's never changed over the time. Is that when it comes to playoff basketball, particularly, it's all about matchups, and it's all about going one-on-one in the matchups in the postseason and in clutch time.
Perimeter players being high IQ guys too. I think the Giannis. You're putting the ball in Giannis. You're putting the ball in Giannis's hands when he's 23 years old. You're putting the ball in Paolo Banchero's hands when he's 21 years old. By the time they're 26, 27, and they've been the guy with the ball in their hand for 4 or 5 years, 6 years in the NBA, they're a high-level passer. They're a high-level playmaker. They can shoot it, score at all 3 levels. And it takes time. It just takes time. So. But Giannis, he's one of those guys that he's when he picking the ball up at the free throw line and he's screaming louder than anybody in the arena as soon as he gets a little bit of contact. And there's so much of let me see if it goes in. Let me see if he misses before I want to call the whistle these days. It's just he's always going to get that good whistle. But Trev, this is going to wrap up our first edition of the Reel Spiel NBA Show presented by the Reel Spiel podcast. We're going to try to get some clips edited, get this on all platforms if we can. Trevor, thank you so much for being my co-host on this show. You're going to be, obviously, he's going to be the co-host going forward, but we are going to try to add a 3rd and 4th co-host just so we can have a team. I'm trying to assemble a team of some of the but some of the willing NBA fans that are that we have in the city that also do some sports talk.
I don't want to be the Oliver Miller of the team.
Give me whoever you want, Trevor. Like, comment, subscribe down below, share with your friends. If we had something you heard on here that you think is crazy and you have an NBA friend who's a fan, send it to him. Let him know. So these guys are saying this on this series. What do you think? Make him watch it. Make him comment down below and let us know how we're wrong, how we're crazy. That is going to wrap us up, though. If you want to sponsor the show, just let us know. We'll take a sponsor. But yeah, Trevor, thank you so much. We'll be back. Obviously, I want to do bi-weekly minimum with the Reel Spiel NBA show while it's the NBA playoffs, just because we are trying to assemble a team. So if we have 2 guys available, 3 guys available one night, 2 guys available, different 2 guys available the other night, it can be a team. It can be multiple guys joining up. So that's what we're going to try to make happen. Shout out to Rashawn Myers for letting us use his X platform as well for getting this out to the live viewers.
I got more bad news for you there, Roman. You can do it bi-weekly. You can do it quarter-weekly. You can take a month off. The role players in LA ain't going to stop sucking.
You're wrong, Trevor.